Hello world, my name is Colby Cajero, and in case you missed my first episode of this series, of this vlog, I am a healthy 33-year-old orthodontist who was diagnosed with breast cancer not even 2 weeks ago. I am documenting my experiences and my journey through this process because I haven't found anything to relate to online for people in my demographic. So today's episode, I wanted to go over the events that led up to my diagnosis and the actual phone call that I got about my diagnosis and just kind of what I did with that information. And so I found out on November the 9th, 2021, that was a Tuesday, that I had breast cancer. So the events that led up to that diagnosis were that back in early October, my husband and I were intimate and he felt the lump. And when you're in dental school, you learn how to screen for oral cancer, but you also learn how to screen for other cancers as well. And so when I felt the mass, it was fixed and non-tender, and that's not good. So I knew in the back of my mind, crap, I gotta get this looked at. So immediately, I think this was during the weekend, and so Monday I sent a message to my primary care physician and told him that I felt the lump, and I asked him to send me for a mammogram. So so my primary care physician lives in Arkansas and I live in Bedford, Texas, but I've seen this man for years and he's amazing and I refuse to go anywhere else. So he referred me to Solace Mammography because it was close by for my house, and I scheduled the mammogram for October the 29th. Went in for the mammogram. Wonderful, wonderful facility, excellent patient care, wonderful place, super kind, just great experience there. And I went in for the mammogram, and then it was followed up with an ultrasound. So on the ultrasound, the radiologist showed me the lump, and she told me that she felt like it was what's called a fibroadenoma. She said, do not worry about this. It is most likely nothing. I see this all the time in women your age. It's very common, and it's nothing to concern yourself with. However, the edges on this one little area are a little fuzzy. So because of that, I want to get a biopsy just to make sure to confirm my diagnosis. But again, you shouldn't worry. I see this every day in young women your age. So I take her at her word. I go about my business and we schedule the biopsy for a week later. So I go in for the biopsy, and if you've never had a breast biopsy before, what you can expect from that is, I had a good experience. I cannot say anything negative about my biopsy experience. It was a little uncomfortable when they injected the lidocaine, but after that, totally fine. Just felt like, just a little bit of pressure, nothing crazy. So what they do is they inject the lidocaine, let that marinate for a minute, and then they inject this syringe that has the biopsy needle for it. And so it goes through the mass, and then she pulls the trigger like a gun, and that strips the cells and collects the tissue sample that way. She does that about 3 or 4 times to get enough from different angles to make sure that she got good samples. And After that, she inserts this little biomarker that shows up on imaging so that they can locate the mass later on easily. And that's it. They gave me an ice pack and sent me on my way. So that night I did 20 minutes on, 20 minutes off, and with the ice, and it was great. It was great. I did not have much discomfort. The next day, my husband and I drove 3 hours east to Texarkana to my in-laws' house and hung out with them for the day. And then that Sunday, we did our photos for our Christmas cards this year. So Monday came and went, hadn't heard anything. And then Tuesday, November 9th, was the day that I got the phone call. So again, I'm an orthodontist, so when I got the phone call, I was at work. It was around 10 o'clock in the morning, and I remember that I was about to go into a consult, and I was looking at my patient's x-rays and all of that fun stuff, and the phone rang. It was a phone number I didn't recognize, but it was a local number, so I knew I needed to answer it. Normally I don't answer phone numbers I don't recognize, but in this case I just knew that I needed to answer it. And I answered the phone, and she said, "This is Amanda calling with your biopsy results. Is this a good time to talk?" And I said, "Yes, no problem." So I shut my door to my office, and she said, "Okay, I need you to get a pen and a piece of paper." And I said, "Will a Post-it do?" And she said, "That's fine." And then she says, "You have cancer. It's called invasive ductal carcinoma. The next thing you need to do is to go see a breast surgeon who will let you know what your next steps are to treat this." She said that I can go anywhere, but she did give me the names of 3 breast surgeons that, I guess they're the pathologist or somebody on there and recommended. And she asked if I wanted them to send my records to the doctors that they recommended, and I asked her to send it to 2 of the 3 because they were the most closely located to my house. And Amanda assured me, she was so sweet, she assured me that I could get as many consultations as I wanted. She said, "Colby, it is so important that you feel comfortable with your breast surgeon because this doctor is going to impact the rest of your life. What he or she recommends is going to impact the rest of your life. So it is crucial that you feel comfortable. If you go to one and you don't feel comfortable, or you don't get a good vibe, or something's not right, that's fine. Go see as many consults as you want because this is crucial." And I'm so grateful that she said those words to me. And then she, informed me that I could pick up my images the next day. So I had to, she said that, I will need to take the pathology report, and really what it was the disc, the CD images of my mammograms, and with me. So then she told me I could pick those up, the next day. And, I told her, "Oh, I'm working, I can't pick them up till Friday." She said, "Not a problem." So then she asked me if I had any questions, and I was just so stunned. I cannot even remember actually getting off the phone with this lady at this point, but I know that I was just so stunned. And as soon as I hung up the phone, I remember I walked to the bathroom, I shut the door, and I just paced in the bathroom back and forth, back and forth. And I remember praying. And then somehow it dawned on me, oh crap, you've still got patients waiting on you. You're at work. You need to get it together, sister. And so I prayed again. I took a deep breath, And then I went out and saw my patients that were, my consult, and then all the patients that I had in my chair in that moment. And then after seeing all those patients that were there at that time, I went back to my office. I think I shut the door, but I honestly don't remember. And if I'm perfectly honest, the rest of that afternoon at work is really a blur. I don't remember at what point I thought, oh my God, I have to tell my family about this. And of course, when you're married, the first person you think of is your spouse. In my situation, my husband had a lot going on at work and a huge business meeting the next day at work. And so I did not want to dump this on him in that moment. I remember sending a message to my primary care physician. And side note, my primary care physician and my mom and I have the same primary care physician. My mom has stage 4 kidney disease, and we go back and forth in the messaging in our little portal. And I asked him, I said, should I tell my mom? And with her medical condition and just everything. And he said, well, he recommended that I just wait until after I meet with the breast surgeon, because in that moment, I didn't have any information other than, hey, you've got cancer. And so I used that same logic for not telling my grandparents yet either. And to this day, today is November the 21st, and I still haven't told my family yet, because I want to wait to tell them in person. And I truly believe there is no right or wrong about that. And if you're going through the same thing, you do what you feel is right for you. I want to wait so Thanksgiving is coming up this week, and I plan to see my family during that. And I just decided that I needed to tell them in person, and I felt that would be the best thing to do. So I'm still sitting on it. And so back to November the 9th. I remember getting ready to go home and stressing out about, what do I tell my husband when I get home? And as Christians, you have your group of people that are your mentors, that you can lean on for everything. And for me, I called one of those mentors. I reached out to my cousin Stephanie. She's amazing. She's married with 2 kids, and she's a lot like me. Very strong, very independent. Just doesn't need anybody. Just does it. Just whatever life throws at you, just you deal with it and you move on. And excellent wife, excellent mom, just beautiful human being, and I respect her so much. And I called her, and on my way home from work, and I said, Stephanie, are you sitting down? And she said, no, but I can be. And I said, I think you should be. And then she says, okay, hang on a second. And she sits down and she says, okay. And I said, Stephanie, I have breast cancer. And I don't know if I need to tell my husband when I get home, because he has this big meeting tomorrow at work, or do I just keep that to myself and wait until after his meeting? And, I explained my whole, everything. Stephanie's a lot like me. She's got to understand, everything about it first. And she was so graceful, and she said, Colby, I don't think there's a right or wrong way to do this. She said, you've got to decide what is best for you. And then she prayed a really, really beautiful prayer, asking God to guide me and to lead me in what He wanted. And then I just sat there. So before I ended that conversation with her, I was almost home, but I wasn't sure if my husband was home yet. So I pulled into a parking lot and finished my conversation with her. So I just kind of sat there before I finished driving home and just prayed a little bit more and just, and I decided to wait until after my husband's meeting to tell him. And right now I have the benefit of hindsight, and I support my decision that I did that. I don't think that there's any right or wrong way. And I stand by what I did. I stand by that decision. But when I got home that night, I had to skirt the truth a little bit. And what I mean by that is my husband and I were just, watching TV, playing with our dogs, having a really, really good night. And he just up and just out of nowhere says, "Oh, today's Tuesday. We should have gotten the results today." And I kind of said, "Honey, no, remember, they said it could be up to 5 business days, and, and so it could be Friday, at the latest before we hear anything." And he just, grumbled about it because, it's on his mind too, even though he's got all this going on at work. And we left it at that. And I remember going to bed that night, and my bedtime prayers usually consist of me thanking God for just various things that happen throughout the day. And I'm going to quote 1 Thessalonians 5:18. It says, "In all circumstances, give thanks, because this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus." And I remember thanking Him for giving me an opportunity to grow closer with Him. I'm not gonna thank Him for cancer. No, we're not thanking Him for cancer. But it is an opportunity for me to grow closer with Him, and that's what I thanked Him for. And I said, "God, I don't know why You've put me on this path, why You've chosen me for this, but I trust You completely. I know You love me, and I know that You got me." And I remember saying, "God, show me Your will for my life and my health." And that was the day I got my diagnosis. That was kind of how those events unfolded. And if you've gotten your diagnosis, or if you haven't gotten your diagnosis but you've been tested and you're waiting, I want you to know that there's no right or wrong way for you to hear that news. It is shocking. It is going to, unless you just really know in your heart that that's coming, like you have a family history or, something, and I wasn't prepared. But I want you to know that there's no right or wrong way to hear that news and to react to that news. There's what, 5 to 7 stages of grief, shock, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance, all of those. And I know that I'm going to go back and forth through those various stages. And I've definitely felt that over the last 12 days since my diagnosis. And I'll share more about that with you at a later time. But the November the 9th, I think I was in the shock phase most of that day. And I'm so grateful for my work because I love what I do. I love, love, love transforming smiles and just helping patients with their smile journey. And so it's so easy for me to get wrapped up in my work and not think about things. And I had that to lean on that day, at least until I got home. And then, you know, that night I just had a good evening with my husband, just hanging out with our dogs, and that was a really good distraction. And I'm just very grateful for that. And I want you to know that how you handle the news of your diagnosis and the steps that you take are okay. If you sit down and cry and don't move, that's okay. If you go out and I have no idea. I literally can't even think of various different ways in this moment about how to react, but whatever you decide to do, that's okay. It's okay. Because you just got news that changed your whole life, and that's okay. At the end of the day, I want you to know that you are one of God's children, and He loves you so, so, so much, and you're gonna get through this. He's got you, and you're gonna get through this. Now for the dental part. Remember I told you that because I'm an orthodontist, you're gonna get some dental education throughout this. I just want to say, at this point in this journey, if it has been longer than 6 months since your last dental exam, it is very important at this stage to get scheduled for a dental exam. In later episodes, I will explain how cancer treatment affects your oral health. But for now, just know that it's very important that if it has been longer than 6 months since your last dental exam, that you need to go get that taken care of and scheduled. Remember, very important to brush for at least 2 minutes twice a day and floss 1 time a day. If you have braces, if you're an orthodontic patient, make sure that you're brushing for at least 4 minutes twice a day and flossing at least once a day. Thank you for watching this episode of my story, and I just remember, you are not alone. You are not alone in this fight, and please email me if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. My email address is Colby, COLBY, .Cajero, CAJERO, @gmail.com. And you can also follow me on Instagram at dr_Colbert, COLBURT, at Dr. Colbert. I'm here for you, and most importantly, God is here for you. And God loves you, and He will never turn His back on you. Thanks for watching.